Good afternoon. My name is Włodek, and I will be talking today about the way to make your teams more efficient, about Belbin Team Roles. I work for Allegro currently as an engineering manager. Previously, I talked at many conferences about code refactoring and clean code, but to end up with good quality product from business point of view as well, you need to have good cooperation in your teams. You can ask questions, of course. At the end, I hope we will find a minute or 2 minutes to answer the most popular questions. I could ask these questions, who is working in a team? And I guess everyone would raise their hands. But that's a good question. Is it indeed a team or is it a group of people? Very often we call a team a group of people because they sit together in the office or they are assigned to one single team. But there are lots of differences. We might have a group of people. For example, let's imagine you and I are sellers. I am selling for Tesco and you are selling for Carrefour. And we are competitors, although we belong to the same group of people. We might have a feature team that exists only for a while, then disappears. And at the end, sometimes, hopefully, more and more often, we might have a team, indeed a team, the same set of people who cooperate. What's the reason to have a team? To work together, to introduce synergy, so together we introduce more than comparing to what we would achieve when working separately. So 2 + 2 should be at least 5. Hope it's good when it's 10 or more. So the Belbin roles in a team were maybe not designed, but discovered by this man and his team, Meredith Belbin. I checked this morning. He is currently 97 years old. In a month's time, he will be 98. That's he. And what I'm going to talk about is definitely my own experience with the teams that I was building, rebuilding, sometimes building from scratch. I am not certified by Belbin. But definitely that's my experience, what I'm going to tell you today. So based on the discovery, Belbin's team discovered, when working with lots of teams, observing them, 3 groups of roles. The first one is organizational one, like green color, as you can see, the environment. The second one, think about the blue color, thinking in clouds, analytical roles. And the last one, red color, so it means blood and tears, right? So it is getting job done. Each of these groups contains three roles. Think about these pictures, metaphors. I will explain each of these roles in more detail in a minute. So have a look, please, at these pictures. The first one, coordinator, the one that knows everyone. The next one, team worker, someone who wants to make everyone in your team happy. The next one, resource investigator, so we can have a look at these binoculars, looking around at other teams, other opportunities, and bringing some news into the team, what we can do differently. Then evaluator, somebody who makes decisions, very often right decisions, by analyzing lots of graphs, facts. Then light bulb, bringing new ideas over and over again every day. Specialist, someone who is very detailed, has a wonderful detailed knowledge, but this knowledge is specialized. It means it is very narrow, but also very deep. A locomotive, a shaper, someone who is very task-oriented, says we are going in this direction, raising lots of conflicts, but pushing things forward. Then practical implementer, somebody who follows the plan day by day, steadily. And finally, never-ending finisher, somebody who tries to make things even better, better, better every day, and it is never good enough. And the key point is to have balance of these roles in a team. It doesn't mean that one person should occupy one role. No. One person might occupy 2 or 3 roles. Sometimes more than one person occupies a given role. But the key point is that all of the roles are covered. And that's the team that at the end is going to reach the goal. So let's have a look closer at the first group, organizational social roles. Do you remember coordinator, team worker, and resource finder? The first one, coordinator. It might be the leader of the team, official, formal leader of the team, but not necessary. So that's a person that knows the people quite well, knows the skills of team members, and can delegate the tasks very effectively. But on the other side, he might be perceived as a manipulator, and very often she says, I did it, my team did it. It means that they might sometimes steal achievements of the team and assign these achievements to themselves. Coordinator. So the first organizational role. I am pretty sure when I go through these roles, you can think about your teams, and maybe you will find some people that match to these descriptions. The next one, team worker. Somebody who wants to make good atmosphere in your teams, make everyone happy. For example, it might be somebody who wants to invite everyone from the team to their house to organize a grill, wonderful steaks, or takes the team to the best American pancakes in the city. But on the other side, this person will be very resistant to beginning tough discussions. Yes, because tough discussions sounds slightly risky. But on the other side, in teams, tough discussions and tough decisions are quite useful, sometimes necessary. But this person will be blocking tough discussions and avoiding any conflicts. And finally, resource investigator, a person that looks around and says, you know, in that team they have Kanban, we have Scrum, that sucks in our team. So why don't we change this? So this is a person that looks around and brings proposals of changes, but what's the issue with this person? This person very often ends up with bringing the news. They don't continue, they run away to look for another proposal. So they will not introduce Kanban in your team, but they say after 6 months, you know, I was talking about it half a year ago. Why didn't we do this? Resource investigator, binoculars. Analytical roles. The first one, a rational evaluator. Do you have people in your team that could say, that doesn't make sense? It is a stupid idea. They do not explain the way they are thinking at all, but right away they jump into the decision evaluation and they say, it doesn't make sense. It sounds like a very, very blunt response, but very often they are very, very right, into the point. Rational evaluator. The next one, somebody who jumps right away into your team and says, let's do this. The next day, let's do that. Let's do another ideas. And very often, these ideas are extremely strange. But once upon a time, once a month, they provide a wonderful idea. On the other side, such a person might be in troubles because they provide too many ideas, too often, too fast. But some of these ideas, like 10% of these ideas, will be great ideas. And finally, a specialist, someone who is very, very detailed, has a very deep, precise knowledge, but only about certain area. Like, for example, they know everything about narrow scope, yes, of the business domain, specialist. And finally, technical roles. The first one, shaper, somebody who is very, very task-oriented. So what they do? They begin very tough discussion. They have also blunt responses. They are focused on getting things done, and they introduce conflicts quite often. But this way, they push things forward. Shaper. In Polish language, the translation of this role is locomotive. Practical implementer. I am pretty sure you have such people in your team. So it is a person who follows the plan every day, day by day. They want to regularly implement things, new things, make things forward. And for them, good enough is a good point. They will never be polishing things over and over again. And the last one, which is never-ending finisher. I remember I had such a people in one of my teams. Our microservice was restarting every 60, 70 hours. And this person spent a week and figured out where is the place that cannot be handled by garbage collector, where the memory is leaking. And this way, indeed, such a person was very, very useful. But there might be lots of cases where they are wasting time, unfortunately. They do not need any motivation. They are very focused on details. So have a look at this. Now, please do your best to remember 3 types of roles. Organizational roles, the green color, thinking in clouds, analytical roles, and blood and tears, getting things done. And what happens when there is lack of balance for these roles in your team? For example, let's have a look at this, one of the examples. Let's imagine in your team, we don't have practical implementer, this one. So there is no one who slowly, steadily is making things to happen, to implement. But we have mainly locomotive, a shaper, and never-ending finisher. Yes? What is the locomotive, what they will do? Pushing things forward, introducing conflicts. What never-ending finisher wants to do? They want to polish everything, take care of each case. And most likely there will be a conflict all the time between these 2 people. Let's have a look at this case, for example, when coordinator is missing in your team. And we have a look at into the center of the last row. Practical implementer is present, and the leader is like resource investigator. So practical implementer wants to implement the plan, whereas resource investigator is bringing new idea every day and changing everything every day. Again, this practical implementer doesn't know what to do. I am in the middle of something, and the next morning, I have big change of the decisions. When I was playing with my teams, I also, once upon a time, joined a team where previous leader, before I joined this team for a few months, was never-ending finisher. It was a leader who was senior, very senior engineer, and all the decisions were coming through this man. And then the rest of the team were waiting for the orders. But that guy left the company, I joined the team. What happened? My style was very different, and I was expecting people to be much more proactive, whereas they were used to previous leader, who was making all of the decisions. So right away, there was a very big conflict in this team, which was introduced by myself, yes, by my different style of leadership. What I have to do? I talked to people during one-on-one meetings with the team, and I had to introduce have a look, coordinator role into the team that did not exist before, and stop never-ending finisher being the leader that takes care of everything, knows everything, decides everything, and 9 other people are waiting for the leader decisions. So the key point is to keep the balance based on these roles. And what will happen into your teams? You might have a new person, new experience, new project, and every time something changes, for example, new team member joins, then this new team member will occupy some of these roles. And right away, there will be a conflict. Let's imagine the previous team worker was focused on taking care of people by proposing to come to his house and organize the best stacks in the city. But this new team worker is focused on going for a beer. And right away, what will happen? We will have 2 team workers, one or the other. Which one will be chosen? We don't know. Or maybe, okay, going and organizing stacks every month for his team, her team, was nothing special. But this person decided to choose this role because nobody else was doing it. So everything changes right away when we have a new project, new team member, new technology. For example, in case of new technology, it might happen that somebody who was only, let's say, following the plan, practical implementer, wants to be never-ending finisher. Because now we have a new technology. I am the best in this technology in the team, so I want to change the style I work. These team roles also will help you to work with other models. I am pretty sure you know this. Forming, storming, norming, performing, designed in 1969, I guess, by Tuchman. This is phases of group development, not team development. So what happens at the beginning? A team is set up officially. I am the leader, you are senior developer, this is senior tester, and so on. But at some point, a team should jump into storming mode. What does it mean? It means that everyone should feel safe to tell what they think about the setup of the team processes and everything. And they should work out at the then new style of working, which is efficient and perform in this way. So let's imagine what happens if your leader is team worker. They focus on avoiding any conflicts, avoiding any tough discussions. They want to make everyone happy. The team will not evolve. On the other side, what happens if we have too many shapers? There will be never-ending fight. And such a team might stop existing because of these quarrels, these disagreements. So the key point is to have a look what's happening in your team and make it efficient. For example, at the beginning, a leader should build safety. In this phase, leader should focus on the style of disagreements. So at this stage, leader should focus on working out different rules, principles, how we work. 5 dysfunctions of a team. Who has heard about this model, 5 dysfunctions of a team, by Patrick Lencioni? I'm pretty sure some of you must have heard about it. So at the beginning, lack of trust is the main issue in your team. So indeed, team worker, as you see, can help with it. Later, there is a fear against conflict. Yes, everyone is afraid to tell what they think. So right away, shaper will help. Yes, because they begin a lot of conflicts, push things forwards. They are very task-oriented. Then lack of commitment. So let's make decisions. Coordinator will help. Lack of accountability. Yes, when something happens which should not happen, like lack of tests, for example, skipping some tests, skipping good design, right away, never-ending finisher will help. Is it good enough? No results. Implementer will help a lot. It is good enough. Let's continue. That's fine. So definitely the key point is to investigate the roles and then act upon it with different ways. So I think that's all. We can have a look at the questions.
Like 3 minutes.
3 minutes. Okay, cool. Can and should people change between roles, or is it personally based? Are all roles needed in a team? Very often, all of the roles are needed in a team. When we checked, we figured out that in my team, resource investigator, so binoculars, this role is missing. No, not this role, sorry. I think it was about light bulb. This role was missing, but we decided that it's fine because we are not a marketing team, for example. So we don't need to invent new ideas how to advertise Allegro every time. Yes, my team is focused on counting money a lot, so we know what to do. We don't need to be too creative. But the question is it personality-based? Yes and no. Because, for example, if you take a DISC model, somebody who is extroverted, people very task-oriented, the red color from DISC model, most likely will choose the locomotive, the shaper. But these roles are something that people choose, occupy in a team. So most likely, if I am focused on good atmosphere, I will not choose to be shaper. So yes and no. The answer is yes and no. Having 9 different roles conflicts with the idea of one pizza team. Which roles can we skip? I'm not sure if I understand this question correctly. What does it mean, having 9 different roles conflicts with the idea?
So you have one team that is like six person, like one pizza team, and these roles, as I understand it, they overlap, right?
Yes, these roles sometimes definitely will overlap. It will not be one person, one role. Very often one person will choose 1, 2, up to 3 roles. Yes, so they will definitely overlap. What would be the ideal proportion of different types of team members? It depends on the team, on the project. Sometimes more practical implementers are required. But the key point is that too many shapers, locomotives, is a risk. Very often, if you have a team of 5 shapers, they should go into 3, 4 other teams. It will be good for the teams, good for them, I guess. Let's consider the scenario where we already have a balanced team in terms of Belbin roles. A new person joins and the balance is gone. What should happen? What should happen? We should observe what is happening. Yes? Is it a new shaper or rather a new team worker? And I guess new setup in the team will happen. It will be coming back into the storming phase. Yes? And that's perfectly fine. It will even happen if you have a new project. And what if we have person that didn't match to any role? Is it possible? Yes, it is possible. And it is a sign that this person is not interested in being a good player in the team, most likely. They don't care. And indeed, the tests, if you pay for when you pay for official tests for your team, then the test, which contains a few questions, has a trap that will show what is the level of certainty of answers of this person. So yes, it might happen. It means that this person either is not associated with the team at all, or maybe have some other issues, might be getting divorced and cannot focus, but that's a different story, how to work with such a person, how to help them. yeah, to survive, and after a while, maybe they will focus. They will choose one of these roles. I think that's it. The time is gone. Thank you for these 25 minutes.